for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
All of our stories begin with either in the beginning or once upon a time. And for me, my story began pretty much, and this is how it was referred to for quite a while, a backdoor deal. I could be living in a different neighborhood, in a different school, with different kids in the same bedroom from day to day. And so it began to feel like I was moving through a maze. I was always the kind of kid who would talk to my imaginary friends, they would talk back, and I know now that it was a great thing because it was carving out a place for me to dream. A lot of us will say, well, I want to lose 10 pounds. And then down the road, we've gained it. Why? Because want comes like a wish list, but need comes with a plan. When you feel that power, that is your story, and you see how many paths it can light, trust me, there's nothing in the world that will make you say it wasn't worth it.
Hi, I'm Amy Joy with Amy Joy Coaching, and I have had the pleasure of working with Lauren for the last couple months, although I have known him for over 5 years. He is one of the most beautiful souls on the planet, and I am so grateful to have spent these last couple months together. He's transformed my life. He has put me on platforms and TV shows and different things to help me get my message out. And I can't hardly believe what's happened in the last couple months. So thankful. He allows you to be you. He is beautiful in showing you who you are and letting you see your own light. And that is a beautiful thing. We need this. We need more of these people in the world. And I am so thankful to have Lauren in my life. If you are considering at all working with him, do it. It'll be worth it. He's amazing. He knows what he's doing, and he does it with love.
Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul, and honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
It's a holiday, but I'm still here. I did not take the day off. I did not want to. Happy Memorial Day. Welcome, welcome. Lauren Mike Perry. And it's a beautiful day in the Chicagoland area. This is planning on being sweet. I will be sitting at the but that's okay. We have a great weekend. Five. I'm grateful to be here. Happy Memorial Day. And for my destiny, all the way out. But that's Memorial Day. Have a little bit. But you know, the literature, all my friends, more important, a lot of people get it. Say that, say that, like an automatic. We should never get it. So, all of it, all of it. And I want to take a moment. Those who have that who I remember when I was here, my favorite part of the story was the check. Follow it, follow this guy for 5 years, got the action, and it's in that which is what it's doing. And the reason we follow it right now is the reason that was that we sunset and all the skills that follow. We get them. And I can on that. I can now that what you do is coming in and you, oh, she thinks she knows my own self. I she just don't, I didn't even know that was fun. That's Flint, Michigan. That's Flint, Michigan. See, they don't give you doorbell. They don't call ahead. You come in the house, they already been in your fridge. You sit down and you go, you come out waiting for you. Flint, Michigan. Now y'all get to choose yourself. Right, it ain't none of it hard. It's good. Always ahead of you. So anyway, that's clear. Yeah. You ready? Okay. Anyway, Memorial Day. A lot of people, like I said, I was in the military, and I kept getting Veterans Day and Memorial Day confused. And so it's always something, but I want to show you what it is. Let's take a look at the video. I love this. I subscribe to it, and I hope you will too. This is a kid in Florida, and he has over 22,000 subscribers.
Hey folks, Broadcast Cal here. Today we're going to learn about Memorial Day. Oftentimes people confuse Memorial Day and Veterans Day. After you watch this video, be sure to go check out the video I made about Veterans Day so you know the difference. On Memorial Day, we honor those who've given the ultimate sacrifice by laying down their lives for our country while serving in the military. Did you know that Memorial Day was first known as Decoration Day? That's because after the Civil War, people would decorate the graves of fallen soldiers. On May 30th, 1868, President Ulysses S. Grant presided over the first service to honor soldiers at Arlington National Cemetery. After World War I, the holiday included all soldiers who died protecting our freedom. Memorial Day was celebrated on May 30th until 1971, when the Monday holiday law shifted Memorial Day from May 30th to the last Monday in May. On Memorial Day, American flags are raised to half-staff until noon, and then raised to the top of staff until sunset. In the year 2000, Congress established a national moment of remembrance, which asks all Americans to pause for 1 minute at 3 p.m. in an act of national unity.
Did not know that.
On Memorial Day, we honor the heroes that have given their lives for our freedom. We salute you, heroes. Be sure to share this video so others learn the true meaning of Memorial Day. Broadcast Cal, out.
I love those broadcast apps. See why you had just 30,000 subscribers, right? He was, well, he was 10 when that video is now 32. Still killing. So broadcast now has on something. I think it's still pretty good. I didn't know that thing about 3 o'clock. I'm gonna love this video. I gotta do it. So, anyway, that you know, oh, y'all know there was enough milk, it wasn't enough for the cereal, but it was enough to keep that thing up and drink that person. That ran on. Yeah, don't try to be like, I'm just keeping it real. This live people, this real people. You don't get to go back and forth, and nor would you want to say that. Let me find out. Oh, nowhere. So I didn't get it. Again. So I'm going to make that. So first of all, oh, that was good.
You mean to tell me all that time y'all couldn't hear me? Hold on. I'm praying because I want to say something, but I ain't going to say it. Get thee behind me, Beelzebub. I'm just saying, Lord have mercy. See, that's what I get for doing a show on a holiday. It's supposed to have my butt in the bed, but I can't. I got to work. All I said some good stuff, too. No, it wasn't just you. Oh, so you're just going to let me sit? See? First,
Yeah, you heard the video because it didn't need the microphone. Thank goodness for that. Anyway, I was telling you that Cal, the little boy in the video, has almost 30,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. 10 years old. But he's older now. I think he's almost 12. And he taught me a lot. I didn't know that about that 3 o'clock in the afternoon stand there. I didn't know they decorated. I did not know. And a lot of people confuse Veterans Day with Memorial Day. I used to, and I was in the military. But anyway, anybody that you know that laid their life down today, laid their life down for us, remember them today, won't you please? So Telishia Barry, man, they didn't get to hear all that stuff I said about her coming all up in here without ringing the doorbell. Right. Telishia Barry's here. I don't have her bio, I don't think. So I'm gonna make up some stuff. No, I won't. She's a good friend. She's a fellow Michigander. And boy, what this lady has done in her short journey, because she's still a young woman, raising her children who have all become ultra successful. We'll talk about that. 2+ magazines. We'll talk about that. All kinds of things. And she is about to launch not one, but 2 brand new television shows that you're going to absolutely love. And so I can tell you or show you better than I can tell you. So I'm just going to get her in here. So here we go. We applaud virtually. Roll out the red carpet virtually. How? Easy. It's free and painless. Put some hearts on the screen because, oh, here she comes. I should finish that line from the song, but I won't. Telishia. Don't get it wrong either. Say it correctly. Telishia Barry, because she will cut you. I'm going to say is, you've got 2 things you wrong for. You wrong for busting up in the house without ringing the doorbell. What next? I'm going to come home, me and Brian, and you sitting at the table eating our food because you just done came in the house.
I thought I was on screen. You go to people's door nowadays, you on TV. So
that's true. How did you do that though? I didn't know you could just come in on your own.
I don't know. I didn't mean to do that.
I think that's because we share.
Oh.
We have permission to, well, now I know. Ooh, watch. I'm gonna get you back. Wait till you on the air. I'm gonna come in. Oh, excuse me. I didn't know. How y'all doing? Right. But anyway, I no matter what, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for getting up on the crack of dawn. You get double dip cone for this one on a holiday.
Only for you.
Well, you working today?
You know what? When I say I'm not working, I'm always working. So
yes, you are.
I'm always working. So.
You really are. Let me ask you something real quick before we get started. Did you learn anything from the video? Was there anything in there that you did not know about Memorial Day?
I didn't know a lot of it.
I know. That little boy, he's something else. It's no wonder he's so successful in television because I don't care what anybody thinks. When you have 30,000 subscribers on YouTube, you in television. And yes. And so why don't you, I'm going to dip out for a minute and let you create your own vibe with the viewers. Then I'll pop back in and we'll get started. I want to start at the beginning, all the way back in Flint Town, where it all began for you. So say hello, fill in a couple of the things I missed, and then I'll come right back. All you.
Oh, wow. I'm taking over the show. Well, good morning. It
again.
Yes. Thank you, Lauren, for inviting me to your show today. I am Dr. Telishia Berry. I am originally from Flint, Michigan, residing in California. Wow. So I grew up, we call ourselves brothers and sisters because we are from the same state of lovely Michigan. I grew up there. I love Flint. That is my hometown, will always be a part of my heart, although I live in California by way of the entertainment industry. So I've been a part of the entertainment industry most of my life. And now my children are. My children are all adults. I don't know if you watched the TV show Girlfriends. My son played Jabari on Girlfriends, as among many other roles in television. He is an adult now, but he played the second Jabari on that TV show many years ago. So a lot of people remember him from that, as well as some other things that he's doing now. My daughters are all doing awesome well. One's a model, Toya, and the other one is a photographer and director. Both of them graduated from film school and doing amazing things. One of them works with Sierra. So we're doing a lot of different things here. I have a young one who's getting going in college, and so that has been the gist of me raising children.
Well, let's start there. Because you have now, how many is it? 3 or 4?
It is 4, 3 girls and boys.
I always think it's 3, but it's 4. 3 girls and 1 son. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's start there, because I've talked to you several times about just about everything, but we've never gone here. Jabari, did I say it right? Not the name he played on the show.
That's a character.
But your son's name
is Kendra.
Kendra, you made that name up, didn't you?
Yeah.
Black Mama's notorious for that stuff, y'all.
Names, family names together.
And mix them all together. Oh, you should have one more and call him little Lorendre.
You said what?
You need another one so you can name him Lorendre.
Oh, Lord. Lorendre. Okay.
Little Lorendre. Oh, bless his heart. Little cute thing. Look, so one thing I have not heard you talk about. Okay, so your son, tell that story. How he saw that show on Nickelodeon and just said, Mom, I want to be on that show all the way in Flint. And you know how kids say things. The parents be like, okay, baby, that's fine. You want some cereal? Right. Well, and then how many months later were you on your way to California?
Well, what was happening is my son kind of got the bug. And my ex-husband and I were producing musicals, gospel musicals. So my kids were always at rehearsals. So they were like, at home playing out the roles, and he wanted to act. And I put him in an acting class, and he was a frog. He was like, I want to be Denzel. And
yeah, so, I ain't trying to be no reptile. Right.
He's like, that's not it. I want to be on TV. And I'm like, okay, when you grow up, you can do anything you want. I always tell my kids they can do anything they want. And so he was like, okay, I want to be an actor right now.
I'm not trying to wait. You can wait.
He said, so he would watch Nickelodeon, and he kept saying he was going to be on this show. I want to be on all that. And he would watch it every day and say it every single day. And I was like, boy, go play, okay?
He was manifesting.
He was saying it to me every day. And so one day he got the credit. He read on the television where it was, and it was in California. I was like, boy, this is in California. We're not going. He said, all you got to do is take me. I'm going to be on the show. You just got to take me. I was like, okay. A few months later, they had a couple years later, they had a contest for the funniest kid in America. And so I was teaching drama at the time. And so he's a really good dramatic actor. And I'm like, boy, you got to be really, really funny. He said, I'm funny, Mama. I'm funny. I was like, okay, you're silly. Silly and funny is different for acting. And so he's like, nah, I'm going to do it. So all you had to do is send in some videos. And so I had to write a little script, and the girls participated. They were all little. And I think he was 11 at the time. And so we sent the video in. And a couple of weeks later, Nickelodeon called. They said, out of 10,000 kids, he's in the top 50. Like, what?
See?
And so each week they would show the videos of the kids, and people had to call in and vote. And he stayed in into the top 5. And those 5 got the chance to go to California and actually be on the show. So he spoke that into existence and manifested that. And he actually went on the show, and then he was called back for a guest appearance. And he didn't win in the role. However, he got a chance to be on the show a couple of times, and he got an agent, a manager, and it started from there.
He spoke that joint into existence. Yeah. See what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if you ever go into, you may already do this, but if you ever go into motivational speaking, stage speaking, public speaking, You need to add that piece in.
I'm trying to get him to do that too. So yeah.
It's just amazing because the thing is, before kids are jaded or believe, well, you know what the odds of something are. Listen, all of us, just the fact that we were born, those are did you know this? Being born, the odds are like 1 in 400 quadrillion or 4,000 quadrillion. It has 26 zeros. I know that much. And it's the greatest odds known to man. But we each already beat that just by getting here. We hadn't formed a thought, we hadn't spoken a word. So if you do that and you just did it without consciously doing it, why can't you do everything beyond that? All you have to do is use your dominion. Speak as the only creatures that speak in this world. We get to do that. What a lesson. What a great example. And all of your kids have done really well. So let me ask you about this. Was there ever a time, though? Now, let's say like the Jacksons, they left Gary. Everybody know that. 2200 Jackson Street. They moved out to California. Boom, boom, boom. What was it like for you and your family when you got out there? Because it's a lot more expensive. It's beautiful, movie stars, da-da-da-da-da. Were you ever worried about the paths that your kids would take? How did your parenting shift from Little Flint, Michigan to Hollywood?
Absolutely, it had to shift coming from a small town and moving to Hollywood. There was definitely some culture changes for the kids. You know, I had been to California many times and performed there, and that was my dream. Like, I'm gonna get to California. So I was like the Jackson's mom. My kids got me to California. So
no, that's right.
So we got there, and you know, it was my husband and 4 kids and a dog, and so we packed up a van and we moved there, and it was really comical. When we tell the story, it's really comical because we got there, we had a van, and we got there, the transmission went out, and my ex-husband had to drive backwards down Ventura Boulevard. So it was an adventure, and so just to see his family move from Flint to California with all our stuff on top of the van, inside the van, it was no leg room, kids, bags, everything. It was just hilarious. And it was not easy. It was hard because everything was like 3 times more expensive. Like the first day I went into the grocery store and a loaf of bread was over $5. I was like, what grocery store is this?
My kids getting ready to starve. Right.
Okay, so I was in the premium grocery stores and I didn't realize it.
Because your bougie behind was naturally drawn.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I can't be bougie. I couldn't be bougie then.
Not then. So how long did it take for you to get your sea legs beneath you as far as, okay, we're here, we're going to stay here. What was that like from day to day?
We had to have a no quitting attitude because a lot of our friends were coming too, and they had children, and my son started working within the first 2 weeks, and that was like unheard of. So he had agent managers, everything was in place. When we got there, people thought that we had these things before. When we got there, we just hit the ground running, and because of his connection with Nickelodeon, he had the people that were ready to push him, and they did. He had an excellent team of people that really pushed him out there and got him opportunities. It was nonstop for like years. And so we was very blessed. And my ex-husband then was a celebrity stylist. So he jumped right in and started doing celebrities' hair. So it was an adventure. So we had, and then I was doing all kind of things as an entrepreneur at home, trying to manage the girls and him. And, it was a lot to being, having a kid on TV. And the commitment and the sacrifices that my entire family had to understand. Sometimes the girls are like, why is Kendra always gone? And what is he doing? And what
about us?
They were supportive. They're still very supportive, all of my kids. And we had to focus on kids being supportive and understanding when there's one kid that's always gone, that's always, and they cheered him. And so it was a blessing to watch and to see how it all unfolded and how he had progressed, and on television with people like Vanessa Bell Calloway, with people like Catherine Bates, and just amazing people. And one of my favorites, I always said that I was going to work with Debbie Allen, and she was a director on Girlfriend. So it was an adventure, a great story, amazing opportunities that we all had because of that. So
now we always hear stories about child actors, and we also hear simultaneously in a lot of the cases about the stage moms and dads, and a lot of those experience. Some of them go way out there. Now your son had a team hitting the ground, but you still, because he was a minor, had to show up and be there.
absolutely.
What was the stage mom part like? Anything stand out as, we hear the stories, but what was it like for you? Did you ever have to jump and say, "Oh, hold on"?
No, not too much of that, because they don't like that. You are the parent. Once you come into the
Keep
studio,
your mouth shut.
yeah, your kid is theirs at that point, and you're very supportive, and they're very supportive as well. But you got to know, if you got a child that's in television that's doing professional, that you got to act professional, and none of that coming in there and all of this, and you have to maintain. And my ex-husband did a lot of driving and taking him, and then I did some of that too. So we were trying to balance it out because we had other children, and so there was actually some competition, other moms that, even though when they got the roles, that they would come in and they have these attitudes. And so we had to learn the game. It was a game, to play. Even once you get a role, my son had to learn that when you go in and even in an audition, when you're preparing for a role, there's people that's going to try to, throw a monkey wrench in your audition. It was just wild like that. And it was parents. And I learned a lot, even more, becoming a talent manager. So I worked for an agency where I was booking kids and adults.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I did that for some years, and that I learned a lot more about the whole back, and parents, and because I had some,
I know
but
that's right. How could you not?
yes, I had some parents,
So
but I had to, because I had the experience, I had to even kind of, consult them on how to work it,
and how to deal with not just their fellow peers, but the parents of those peers, and the directors and the producers and all of it.
Absolutely.
So what about this piece? Because we
Mhm.
all done heard stories about Gary Coleman, Britney Spears, all kinds, and list goes on and on. Let's talk about the money. So like when kids are making that money, it comes to the parents, right? Because you're their parent.
Well, they have a thing in Hollywood that, I think this may have started a lot of it because of Gary Coleman, or some of it before, but that a portion of their money goes into an account. It's called the Coogan account. And so they
What
don't,
account?
the Coogan account.
Oh, Coogan.
Yes. And then they
Okay.
don't see that until they're 18. So a nice portion of that goes to them, so that when they're older, they have it, they have some money.
Oh, that's
Because
awesome.
yeah. So of course some of it did come to us, but he had everything that he needed and some. And that's how he got into the music industry. We was trying to make sure he was home when he was home, because he was homeschooled, that he had some things to do. And so we bought his whole studio, music, and he had top of the line, everything, to keep him occupied. And he was able to afford those things. And so now he's into more music now.
He's
So.
transitioned into another stage of the game. So,
Mhm.
well, that's so interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. So let's go back to you now. Tell the story. I've heard it, but your magazines. Talk about your magazines, and they originated. You actually had started building that before you left Flint, correct?
No, I was in California.
You were in California, but you went to Flint
Yeah.
to pull
I
the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, it was in the transition of my marriage, and I went I had a blog, actually, and that's how it started, because it's a Courageous Woman blog. And so I went to Flint, Michigan for a couple years, and I was trying to just regroup. And I wanted to change the magazine, the blog into a magazine. And I had a friend who had a thriving publication in Detroit. And I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? You know, I had worked for a magazine before, but I hadn't, you know, had one. So I'm like, okay, let me ask all of my friends who actually are running magazines. And so he said, well, you're gonna need some money. And I'm like, figure I'm gonna need a couple of dollars, you know, but he said, no, you're gonna need some money. And I was like, okay. He said I was gonna need $30,000 just to start, minimum. I was like,
oh well, most people would have said, okay, never mind.
Right. But I'm like, you know what? I'm a grassroots person. I have started things that started literally with nothing. You know, when I was producing Gospel Blaze, you know, we had to raise thousands of dollars to produce a production. So I had a background in my education is communications and marketing and sales. So I'm like, let me pull out everything you got. And you're going through when you know, restructure your life. Sometimes for me, it was about pulling out everything, you know, that I have and
not focusing on what you don't have.
And yes, absolutely. Not focusing on what I don't have. What can I do to make this happen? And I looked at my account and I didn't have $30,000 at all. I was missing some zeros. Actually, I only had $30. So I'm like, how do I make this work? You know, for real. And I really didn't think much about it. I just said, I got to start. I got to start where I am. And so I took that $30 and first, I made a brochure and my whole rate sheet and how much it's going to cost to be in my magazine. I don't have one. And so I printed it. I printed 10 copies. And I went out to the community to start talking about this magazine that's about to hit. And I got all my friends and people in the community to support and be a part of it. On my last copy, they asked me for it. Can I have that? And I was like, I'll email it to you. And so that's in my first advertiser was like $300 and for like a small ad, I think I had them. And we just kept going and we distributed the first issue with 4,000 copies to the community. And wow. That was some time ago, but it's been a blessing. But that's
interesting, Dr. Telishia, how interesting that you started in Flint, but you migrated all the way out to LA. Big things happened, but then you went back to your roots. And you planted something that is still growing today, and then you went back out there. There's a message in there somewhere. Yes. You see, there really is. A lot of people just may take that as, you know, just arbitrary decisions, but no, there's a message in there, and we're going to get to that. But before we do, I want to show you right now. Now, remember, she just described that little seed that she put, and it wasn't even in the ground. I see it kind of like in when you were a kid in grade school and you plant stuff in the classroom, they cut your milk carton in half and put it in the windowsill. Remember that? And you get to come in every day and see it grow a little bit. That's kind of what it feels like when I hear your story. But let's take a look at what it has grown into today.
Wow. Wow.
That was awesome. I'm gonna tell you something. Every time I look at that, I just am so proud. I'm not kidding, Telishia. I know what it's like when it's your own work and you're so close to the nucleus, to the epicenter, that you don't see it like we do. About, dang. I mean, just one thing after the next. We haven't even gotten to the literary side, but we're about to. But what's it feel like? Because I was watching your face from backstage when you see, I mean, you have Oscar winners, Tony winners, NAACP award winners, Image award winners on those covers. That's not easy to pull off. So let's talk about what was your method, the relationship building part, because that's what I believe in. I believe when you build relationships that are authentic from the very beginning, they will serve you throughout your journey. If you started with the right intention. So talk about that. How did you get to those people we saw on the covers? And that's just scratching the surface. There's tons of others. Trust me. You didn't see any of the men celebrities. So talk about that. How did you make that part happen?
Well, I just, I still had that don't quit, keep going no matter what. Like you got to do that even if it doesn't look like, I wasn't a celebrity. I was not even in California anymore.
Right.
We started, I had to go back home and start from scratch, literally my entire life. And I just believed, I had to kind of take that energy of my son has, like, this is where I need to go. This is,
right.
He gave me that address, like, this is where I need to go. Ma, you said I could do anything. So I had to remind myself what I've told my children and everybody, like,
and it came back to you.
When you can do it.
Because let's keep it real. Think about it. A lot of people returning back to the place they escaped from, would be like, oh man, everybody goes, what your ass doing back? Thought you was doing all that big stuff out in California. Now you don't go, you know who back home, right? You know what I'm saying? Now I know you had to deal with some of that, or at least consider. So talk about that. Did that help? Do you feel that helped push the trigger? Like, I ain't gonna come back. They ain't gonna be talking about me. I came back here for a reason. I'm gonna get it done. Then watch. I can show you better than I can tell you. What was that like? What did you learn from that experience, having to go back home? You left with a husband, came home without one. You left with kids who weren't in the industry, but you came home and they were. It was probably a lot of conflict. Talk about that.
I wouldn't think it was much of a conflict, because that was my home, that where I lived, for the first 30-something years of my life, and my family was there, and I needed that connection. I needed to be reminded where I came from. You know what I mean? And I came from, humble beginnings. My parents were General Motors. My grandparents, I was raised by my grandmother and grandfather, and very strong Christian foundation. So that was it for me, knowing and believing in God first and having my faith and being reminded of that.
Yeah.
So that taking me back home, I was able to be reminded of the foundation of me. And sometimes especially going through a divorce, sometimes you got to get to the foundation of who you are. And that was it for
the
me.
Square root.
Yeah, I had to go back to the beginning, like new birth. You know what I mean?
There you go. And that's a big piece. You said a mouthful there, because all of our stories start with either if you're a believer in the beginning, if you're a non-believer, once upon a time. But you still got to take that ass right back to the first square of the sidewalk.
It wasn't about Hollywood. I had many experiences, many friends and all of that. But it was about little Telishia from Flint, Michigan. Who is she? My heart, my foundation, my faith in God was the foundation of.
I know that's right. And what is it like now when you visit Flint? Because I know they probably say, "Ooh, I'm surprised they ain't got a sign out when you come into Flint, home of, well, don't say they won't, because you're not finished." But what is that like when you have to go back, and you see people who still talk the same dreams? They look at you,
Like, because that makes me uncomfortable when people look at me like, well, it happened for you, but it could never happen for me. And you instantly understand that piece of pouring into people that, yes, it is you too. All you have
Mhm.
to do is choose. Talk about that. What's that feel like being a hometown hero in a way?
Well, just know to maintain still my faith and always encouraging people. That's just who I am. Always encouraging that wherever you are, whoever whatever you have in you, you can do whatever you want. And that has just I've just maintained that and encouraged people. And there's been so many people that have relocated back to California or or wanted to have their children in the industry. I'm always open to consult with people on how to do it or how we did it, because as soon as we moved here, we had so many people sending me their children's resume and photos, and they were trying to get into television. And I'm like, okay, but you're gonna have to do what we did. You got to do you got to get on
You
the
got to get
highway,
on it.
plane, train, wherever. You got to be here where it's happening. So that was a major thing. I was just encouraging
Trying to
people
get
that
people.
they can
So,
do it as well. They just got to make the same moves.
so how long had you had the magazines? I know you started with Courageous Woman and then went to Courageous Man. Any other magazines?
Yeah, we have a couple and a couple coming. And we had always had men, or had in Courageous Woman, we started with Man of the Month, Courageous Man of the Month. And because I had men in my network as well, and they were always asking, well, you always got something for women. So we started
Yeah.
with the Courageous Men of the Month inside Courageous Woman. And during the George Floyd murder, um, it was just the temperament of African Americans was just not feeling well. Everybody was kind of like, what is
Yeah.
going on here? And I wanted to know, we were doing a men's issue for a special for um, Father's Day 2020. And so I wanted to know how the men were feeling. Sometimes we got to ask men, how are you doing? What is
Right.
going on? Because sometimes they just don't want to,
Right.
they're not out front to tell you. So I asked all of the 20 men that we were featuring how they were feeling, and their responses were, they just shook me. And I just said, you know what? I want to give a platform to men. We were already producing books and anthologies. And I said, I want to do an anthology with men. I want to hear their stories. I want to give them this platform to really let them share their hearts. And that's where the book, The Heart of a Black Man, came from.
And that's out now. That
Yes,
just launched a few weeks ago. How's it doing?
doing very
Congratulations, by the way.
well. It's the number one bestseller. These are sturdy men who share their amazing stories, and we're still working with them, doing some other things as well. So you'll see them. And just very proud of that project. We worked really, really hard to get that project and work with men. It's a whole different vibe working with men authors versus the women who, most women have done a lot of anthologies, but this was a first for most of the men.
Yeah.
And so it was a blessing work with them.
Here's the piece that I wonder if you've ever been asked this in an interview, but I'm gonna just throw it out there. Because you do a lot to be of service to people. We already talked about how you create stellar relationships, and that's what has opened up so many doors for not just yourself but your own children and tons of other people that aren't blood related to you, myself being one of them. I'm Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris today because you nominated me. I don't know if y'all know that, but it's true. Changed my life. I mean, here I am, 60 years old, until a year ago this month. I was a 12th grade educated Black man, which I didn't realize there was some shame behind it, but there was a little bit of a ring in that bathtub simply because of the foster care piece. I wasn't able to go to college, even though I could have. I didn't have the opportunity, but people would never ask, why didn't you? They would just assume. And that was the piece that I drug like a ball and chain behind me. And then instantly, you changed that in my life. So let's talk about this. You're a very creative woman, clearly, and you're constantly helping people. But then, I know because I've said these words to you myself. A lot of people get it twisted with you. They think it's easy. So they'll try to snatch something out of your kitchen, that you left on the counter, ran to do something. They'll come back. Wait a minute. I know I left that bowl with all the ingredients in it and the whole bowl gone, right? And so talk about how it feels when trust is broken, betrayal is entered in, that breach of principalities and things like that, because it comes because people just ain't patient. They want to wait. And you have ideas that, what about knockoffs, copycats, and things like that? How do you deal with things that hurt your spirit? Because, a lot of us say, you know what? Because a lot of people allow those things to rob them of the joy of being of service to others. Well, I ain't going to help nobody else because every time I do, this is what happens. When really, that's the core of your joy. How do you keep going even when people do those things that they know they're wrong for? Because I've seen a couple of them. I've watched them from the outside in. So I know you've dealt with it. Talk about what you reach for in your world. Is it your faith again, or what do you do?
Well, you said it. It's what I do is the core of my joy. So I continue to keep going. It's very hurtful, more so when it's people that you know and that you trust and that you have work with for a while, and you don't think about it. It's always sometimes it's those people and like, what? And
Right.
it just comes, out of nowhere. You're like, wow.
What do you
And
think that is?
sometimes I think it's all lessons. Everything is a lesson, and it's an L. It's not always the L don't always mean loss. It means lesson. And so you learn from people and you learn how to deal with people. I have dealt with so many kinds of people, and I've always been a very calm person when it comes to dealing with people. And just, I got to keep going, and that's the attitude. You got to keep going. I'm not going to stop helping people or stop, you learn how to operate in trusting the way you do. I've always been a very open and very trusting and giving, and just that's my heart. But when people come and take advantage of you or hurt you, it's hard, but you know what? I'd smile
Keep
and
going.
keep going. It's a lesson.
And keep going, you do, because you got 2 TV shows, and we're so proud they're going to be on the Trajectory Network. Talk about that real quick. I can't believe this hour has flown by. We've got about 4 minutes left. I know. Talk about, and here along the bottom, courageouswomanmag.com, correct?
Yes. We're
Okay,
doing
it's
an
where people.
overhaul of the website now. So I think it's still up now, but they're working on it.
Okay, because it's constantly changing. That's why. But just keep trying. And you can also find Courageous Woman Magazine on Facebook, Courageous Men. Just Google Courageous Woman Magazine or any of the brands, or Telishia Barry, and you'll find all you need. If you don't, hit me up, and I'll make sure I make that connection for you. Now, what about this real quick? Because I want to talk about the 2 new shows. But what if people want to say, if they think, I wonder if she takes articles. Could I write an article for one of your magazines? Could I say, hey, here's a courageous woman or man. Would you take a look at them? Is that something you would consider? And if so, is this where they go?
Yeah, they can go to Courageous Woman. We do take articles on how to articles and informational articles. If it's to promote somebody or promote a business, that goes into a different category. And then some of our staff will talk to you about how to that it may fall under advertising if it's promoting products,
Right.
services, or
You can also buy ad space.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
put your business, your event, your upcoming book, or whatever it is you're doing, or just your brand. If you're a speaker, an influencer, whatever, great place. A lot of eyes on your magazine. It's been around how many years now?
This is our 12th year.
12th year. So there you go. So there's a lot of eyes on that brand. So if you want to take what you're doing to a new level, check out courageouswomanmag.com. Okay. Real quick, tell us about the shows that are coming up, and when is it? Do we know when they're going to launch?
We're gonna launch in July. I'm super excited. It's courageous people speak, because we had courageous women speak, but now that we work with both men and women, the show is courageous people speak. And then we have another show, it's just for authors. So I love being a book coach and have helped so many people write their stories, over 400 in our anthologies, and as well as single books. So we're excited about that. I love books. So we're going to have a lot of the authors on that show.
That's awesome. Well, listen, blessings. I don't believe in luck, so I'm not going to say good luck, but continued blessings. And please continue blessing all of us with all that work you do. Are you going to write a book one day, do you think, to talk about how all this happened?
Yes, actually, but I think we're still in the process of things that are happening that should be in the book. So
Telling the story, right?
Oh yes.
Right. In other words, you're just getting started.
Yeah, I have some books that I've written. I've been so busy with help other people with their books, but I'm gonna take some time to finish up some of my books. I have one with my son, and and a film. That was my first thing. It was writing dialogue and doing stage plays. So now I have some film projects. My first book was turned into a film, so we're working on in that, and a couple other film projects that I really want to. That's my next big venture is television.
Well, I'm looking forward to when they had that big parade in Flint, Michigan, where you'll be riding in the Grand Marshal seat of somebody's convertible up front, riding down the middle of Main Street, because you certainly deserve it. You've driven already down the Main Street of America and beyond with your wonderful brands. Again, you guys, along the bottom of your screen, and I'll take the liberty of dropping this link for convenience purposes inside your comments section directly at the conclusion of today's broadcast. I want to thank you for, first of all, getting up with the crack of dawn. Second of all, getting up on a holiday. And third of all, for being all that you are. We really honor you today. And thank you so much for all you do. Can't wait for the shows to come out. We're going to get her back after the shows launch. If you are interested in finding out how to become a guest, or to get something into one of the magazines, please reach out. You won't be sorry. You did. I did. And look, there it is, hanging up on the wall behind me. So thank you so much for changing so many lives, including my own. Have a wonderful holiday. All the love in the world. And again, always an honor.
Always an honor to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me. And happy holiday.
You too. You guys get out there and have the best day ever. Happy Memorial Day to you. Get out and love up on someone so you can be loved in return. And as always, in parting, meet me, I say, out front tomorrow morning. My guest tomorrow is Britton Carter. He's an actor who's actually promoting his first film, which I'm going to be in later this summer. So you don't want to miss that. We were co-workers or co-stars, I guess you could say, in Heathen, the Peacock movie from December. So Britton Carter will be in the house tomorrow, and a great lineup the rest of the week. Get out of here. I'll meet you out front on the front porch, God willing, at 8 a.m. Central. So together we create yet again another divine moment in time. And as always, I love you, and there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Great job, Telishia. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying